If you like classical architecture and tortured screaming, you're in luck.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to Building Naboo in LEGO. So this is update number 2 now. So I've made a little bit of progress since the end of update 1, and that is building these walls up to this level here. So this level here is where the bottom of the next platform starts. So the plates for the next section will sort of sit like that, and that'll be the sort of ceiling of this area. And then the next section will be about there. So there's a little bit of a gap there, so it's like a thick sort of level there. And one thing I have been considering for a while now, and now I've sort of confirmed that I'm going to do it, is that I'm going to be adding the lights to this MOC. So I sort of started adding these like this, and when I added a whole bunch of these, so if you completely cover the area and then you look underneath, like you can already see that there's quite a few shadows underneath. So when this whole thing is covered in, it's going to be pretty dark. So I figured I might as well do lights for here. So in the actual game there's a little light that runs sort of that way on the bottom of the ceiling. So I figured I might as well do a light for that. So there would be one light here and one at the opposite side, which would be like down the other end. And I figured since I'm doing lights for these, then I would just go all out and do lights more or less everywhere. So the other lights that would be included will be in the hangar section. So there's little circular lights on the floor which are white, and there's also little cylindrical lights along the walls where the pillars are. So when we get into the next section I'll go into detail on those. So before I build this next section I'm going to work out sort of what lights I want to use. So I've been looking into those and seeing what's best for me. So once I figure out which ones I want to use, then I can work out how I'll incorporate those into it. So for now I won't work on this next section, since all the wiring will need to be accommodated for. So for now I'm going to finish off this wall bit and then we'll start on the next area. I've had a couple of bricklink orders come in, so I've got a whole bunch of 2x2 bricks now. I've got that tub full, a couple of these drawers are full of 2x2 bricks now, and also a couple of 2x3 bricks in there. And then I've also got that box there full and a couple there, and I've also started stacking a whole bunch of them in here. So I've just stacked them into like pillars of 12, so that's the height that those ones there are. So there's 12 bricks and then 2 plates like over here, and then there's a larger brick on top, like a 2x3 or a 2x4 brick, just to add a bit more support. So most of the bricklink orders that have come in have just been those 2x2 bricks, but I've also had a couple of orders containing some of the parts I need, like these little 1x1 plates with the thin ring attachment, so that way I can finish off these sections here. So let's get into finishing this off and then we'll get into the next area. So as you can see there, I've made a little bit more progress on this wall. So this side here is now more or less complete, apart from these little gaps here which I need to fill in with 2x3 bricks. And the other side is almost complete. So now we're going to get on to this next sort of half, and we'll do the floor and maybe start on the walls of that. And for the rest of the video I'm going to try increasing the speed of the time lapse, as last video went for quite a while, so I think it might be better if I increase the speed. So after you're done watching this video, let me know if you prefer a slower or quicker speed. So let's get into the time lapse. here we have the finished sort of foundation area. So I have made it to the right sort of height, same as the other one, and it's got the gaps here. It's like that are lower down, sort of like imprinted into it, so that way the plates can sit on the sides. So that's the same but opposite to the other area. And then there's also these 3 holes. There's one little one there as well for the bits to stick into, which is also the same as the other side. So now we can get into the actual sort of design of it. Something I've done with this section that I didn't do with the last one is I made it so that it can split apart easily like that. So that way when I have to take it to the exhibition, all the sections will be able to split apart fairly easily. So there'll be 1 or 2 bits on top that will join it together. So I might have a couple of tiles like that joining it together, just that way it doesn't separate easily. But then when I need to transport it, I just take that off and then you can split it apart. So I think the largest section I'll want to have is 2 grey base plates. Anything bigger than that is just too hard to move around. So let's get into the next time lapse. Alright, so here's a bit of an update of where I'm up to. So as you can see, I've started laying down the tiles and started working on the bottom of this wall. So I thought I'd show you the technique I use for making these sort of lines here. So I use a mixture of both tiles, like just pushed down normally, and also these bricks on their sides. So you can see, like here, there's a couple of bricks stacked on top of each other, both bricks and plates, and there's that grey plate underneath. So when it's on its side, it's just the one line going down. And then for the tiles that are just like pushed down normally, like this, I used the tiles underneath since the plates are offset. So if you look at, say, this one compared to the tiles that are there, you can see it's slightly off center, so it wouldn't be able to just push down onto the studs. So it's got to sit on a tile, so that way it can be a little bit offset, and I can get these grey lines where I want them to be. And this part here is just plates that are on the sides going that way instead of that way. Alright, and here we have the finished floor design for this area. So all of these parts are sort of like little puzzle pieces, so they're sort of different sections that all come out sort of individually. So there's a few of the different sections you can have a look at. So they all just sort of slide in nicely with each other. And there's more of these sort of tiles that are just on plates and then offset on these tiles down here. And there's also more of these sort of bricks on the sides, like that one there. So they just all sort of fit together nicely, and then you got all the lines going around. So you got all these grey lines with the squares and the dark grey on the outsides. So I think next we'll get into this section of the floor area. So let's get into another time lapse. Alright, so I finished the floor design over here, and I've started on the staircase here. So to do the staircase, I use a sort of repetition technique, and I use these 2x2 jumper plates, and then put a 1x8 plate across, like that. And then I put a plate on like the back side, just that way when I put it on like that, the plate sort of goes onto the little bit along there, just for a bit of extra support, like that. And then I just repeat that over and over, all the way up. And every now and then I'll create like a little column just for a bit of extra support, otherwise it'll fall over easily like that. So I think before I get carried away with the staircase, I'll start on this wall on this side. So for these little sort of pillar bits in the walls, I have used these 1x2 bricks with the grooves showing up and down, and on the other side is the sideways ones, but we don't see that side, it's just this side to worry about. And then on top of that is a Technic brick with the half pin in it, and then attached to that is a 1x6 tile. So there's 4 of these 1x2 bricks stacked together, and that goes on top to give that sort of little effect like that. And on top of that is 2 of these 1x2 plates. So I used 2 of these instead of a 1x2 plate because they've got the little sort of anti-stud in there, and that connects into the hole there. So you wouldn't be able to use just a 2x2 plate in there. And then that just sits on a jumper plate, a 2x2 jumper plate like that. And then you can see on the other side how that'll look eventually. So that's that bit there. Alright, so now I've more or less finished this area of the wall. So from this corner all the way up to here. And I've managed to keep the 2 sort of base plate areas separate. So all that's connecting them at the moment is this 1x2 tile and also this plate here. So when I take those off, then it can separate like that. So some of these parts are a bit loose in here, so when I do separate them, I'll just have to rearrange these when I put it back together. I think that'll just about do for this update. I've made a fair bit of progress doing all the foundation and the floor of this area, and also starting on this part of the wall, and also finishing up some of this area over here, both the wall of this first floor and also doing some more touches to this wall here. Hopefully by the next update I'll have a few more parcels arrive, and then I can finish off this wall here and also have some more tan bricks to keep on working on the wall here and around this side as well. Soon I'll also be ordering the lights, so that way we can work on the second sort of level area over here. Stay tuned for the next update, which should be out in the next few weeks. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.